Okay, so after I recorded my little spiel about religion and race and exposed the fact that I'm a black Republican, a lot of you came to me and you want me to answer a question. Why am I a Republican? Well, I want to ask, why are you a Democrat? But let me do it in a different way. I also picked on the Bible, and I'm going to pick on the Bible again because you read the story or you've heard the story of Cain and Abel. Do you remember when Cain slew Abel and God marked him so other people who didn't exist couldn't kill him? And then he went out into the land of Nod and got married to those other people who didn't exist and developed a city with those other people that didn't exist. Well, we have a new Cain on the Republican scene whom I feel is an insult to Dr. Art Fletcher, to all the black Republicans, Lou Dodd. I mean, just all the black Republicans I knew when I was coming up, when I switched from being a Democrat because I didn't like the plantation mentality to spend an equal number of years as a Republican. So now this guy named Cain, who used to, let's admit, Godfather's Pizza was a pretty darn good pizza, but that has nothing to do with president. And now he wants to say that Obama was not qualified. Well, what's the qualification? 35 and a U.S. citizen? Are you telling me, of course you already said Obama's not a U.S. citizen because he was born somewhere else, but who's buying that? Well, you need to read the history of Dr. Arthur Allen Fletcher. You need to read the history of all the blacks who worked in that time, Lou Dodd, Clarence Pendleton, myself. The first black that I ever knew belonged to Electoral College was a guy named Richard Sweat. We were the group that developed the New Coalition for Economic and Social Change because we wanted to tell you that what we saw wasn't correct. We were the ones who saw all the blacks in the Republican Party and in the Democratic Party who got to position became gatekeepers to keep the intelligent blacks from having an opportunity to have their say. And they're still out there. But we don't want to see that. All I want to say to you is if you're silly enough to believe that Cain, who had no idea what death was, killed Abel and was going to go out into the world where there were no other people, then it's just as easy to believe that this new Cain, who used to run Godfather's Pizza, has a right to come along and say Obama was not qualified. The black man is never qualified. In 1982, I ran against a sheriff who was an incumbent who was molesting women, embezzling things from the sheriff's department, who was a high school graduate, sheriff on account of 10,000 people in Emporia, Kansas. Oh, I was unqualified because I came in having been a military policeman, a campus policeman at City College of San Francisco, a San Francisco police officer with a teacher's credential in police science, had run a small college, had served on several boards of directors. This white guy was able to say, I was not qualified to be his desk sergeant. Why? Because he was white. That's why Hillary Clinton and everybody's able to say Obama is not qualified. Obama was at the top of his class. McCain was at the bottom. Obama came from poverty. McCain came from wealth. I don't have any problems with McCain. I think he's a good man. And as a Republican, I respect McCain. I do not respect any black Republican that you set out there for me as a Republican to represent me. This guy Cain, he needs to go the same way your recent chairman Steele went. I've written Steele many times and told him to be a black Republican, you've got to have guts. If you're willing to stand on this side of the line, you've got to have guts. You've got to come out as Dr. Fletcher did and said to Reagan, you're an insult. You're an insult to black people who are willing to say that they're Republicans. And I want to say to this guy, you're an insult to black people who want to say they're Republicans.